Welcome again to one of our first class Tenacious triathlete videos, and as always we are dispelling myths in triathlon, not for our benefit and entertainment but for your benefit. And one of them we're going to touch on today is the warm-up. If there's one area in triathlon where people end up wasting valuable training time and doing things that actually have no evidence behind them all, it's the warm-up. Now, we want to talk about this because some really cool research that's come out more recently that can help you massively, and it ties in a lot to do with strength and conditioning as well. Now, typical warm-up will involve things like leg swings, flicks, high knees, jogging, building up speed, and can take anywhere between 10, 15. We've even seen a recent article that was suggesting warm-up for 40 minutes, and that was before a race. You'd be knackered. But these things aren't based off actual evidence, things that we know from the world of science and innovation in triathlon that can improve your performance. But what we do know is this: when you do a warm-up, which is only 5 minutes long in comparison to 15 minutes long, and the content of that is based on movements where the muscle lengthens and shortens fast, exactly what happens to your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, and your calves when you go running, that gives you greater performance in your subsequent running session compared to doing one of those long, drawn-out general examples of a warm-up that I've just given you. In other words, less equals more. So first of all, what are the things that you need to avoid? Well, these are the classic general warm-up things. So just before we get going, as I'm walking along, they can be things like general movements that you might usually use for strength work, like we would in the gym. So things like squats and lunges. Again, not things that we associate with improving your performance for a warm-up. Other things as well are like general coordination movements, heel flicks, high knees. Again, no link at all to the things that we know can improve your warm-up for a better running performance as well. And the last thing, just a bucket load of running. I mean, doing 2 or 3K running before you've even got to your main run. So a high volume of running. So these are the typical things that you'll see that again show no link at all in terms of being able to improve your performance for your subsequent. So what do you do? What can be the optimal warm-up for you, which is fast, time efficient, is actually going to improve your performance compared to this long stuff? In the background, you can see my good colleague, Coach Craig, who's going to kind of do a few bits in the background as we go through it. So the first thing is we need to use a drill, first of all, which allows this lengthening and shortening of muscles in a fast way, but we want to build it and progress it. So the first thing we're going to use is like a single leg pogo on the spot. And that basically enables us to get calves, hamstrings, quadriceps, glutes, ready for those short, sharp, almost slightly explosive and reactive movements that you do every time your foot hits the floor. And then we'll just go into a jog from that. And again, the jog won't be far. We're not talking like 500 meters, just maybe 10, 20 meters, steady pace, and then gives you an opportunity just to stop again. Now, over time and in the warm-up then, we want to progress that plyometric movement into something a little bit more specific in terms of how our body's orientated, for example. So what we're going to do, instead of doing that pogo on the spot, Craig's now going to do that pogo just going forwards. So now we're starting to angle the body more horizontally, and then he'll just go into another jog, and that time that jog will just be, again, a little bit more quicker than the previous one. So that's the first 2 steps. We've gone from pogo on the spot, then we've gone to forward pogo, and then what we'll do now is go into something like an A skip for height. Now this is another progression because the forces that are going to be going through those legs now and through the foot when it contacts the floor is going to be, again, much more closer to what it will experience when you start your run. And then again, he'll go into another final jog, but that jog won't be any quicker than the pace that he's going to run at in his session. Again, all we want to do is get you warm, your body prepared for the forces that it's going to be experiencing when you run. You don't need to prepare like a 100-meter sprinter because you're not going to be sprinting at 100-meter speed for 5 kilometers. So what do we know scientifically then about these 2 types of warm-ups? Well, we know that the shorter one, first of all, improved performance in running compared to the longer one when they had that running session straight after the warm-up. So the longer warm-up that was more general was actually poorer at improving performance in comparison to the shorter warm-up that was about these quick, short, sharp lengthening and shortening of muscles, something that we can tend to refer to as stiffening drills, plyometric drills, or transfer drills, as we like to call them at TriTenacious. Now that's huge for you, because if you can perform better in your training from spending less time on something, consequently, that's a huge win when we're all strapped for time with our triathlon training. Another really cool bit though was also that the athletes who did the shorter warm-up didn't feel as tired when they then went to do their running to start with. So after that long warm-up that they'd done, no surprises, got a bit more of a blow on, bit more tired, a bit more fatigued, compared to the shorter one where they felt warmed up, but obviously they didn't feel as fatigued. Psychologically, that's going to put you in a good place as well. Now, the way they knew performance improved was the triathletes who did the short, sharp warm-up using the plyometrics. They used less oxygen at 4 different running speeds that were between about 7 and 10 kilometers an hour. In other words, compared to the longer warm-up, the short warm-up, the athletes used less energy at different running speeds. In other words, they're more economical, and that means they can perform much, much better. It's what we call running economy. It's the holy grail of running performance. Now, there's a few other bits you can put into there, but that's just a general theme of what you can do to make sure your warm-up is short, highly effective, and again, it's scientifically underpinned. So the key things: use movements which have fast shortening and lengthening of the muscle, again within your ability though, and progressively increase your running speed up to race pace, but don't do too much running. That is not going to help you. You want to stay fresh, sharp, and then ready to go on your run.